Hello everyone, and welcome back to Violet Memoir. We are hanging out with our study group. We're hanging with the otter. Yeah, Oscar. Obviously, right? Obviously. There's Oscar with a giant smile, even bigger than normal. He looks exceptionally excited. Yeah, that's that word. Exceptionally excited about something. I'm not sure if it's from being in a group or from me arriving. The thought of the latter does make my ears burn. He's wearing a different outfit this time. Instead of the lax button-up shirt, he's now wearing a sea green tank top covered in different shapes and colors. It's definitely a more distinct look than the previous shirt. I didn't realize how muscular his arms were. I guess that makes sense considering how excited he was to swim. I know he was fit, I just didn't know that he was this level of jock. Catching myself gawking, I quickly make my way towards the free spot next to the possum, my attention still caught on Oscar as he moves. Stretching his arms over his head, he pushes his chair away from the table and lifts himself off the seat with the strength of his tail. As he slides back down of the chair, however, the back of his tank top snags on the top of the backrest, causing it to lift up slowly. I mean, that's a pretty good CG. That's pretty good. Man, those are short-ass shorts there. What the shit? His slow descent down from his stretch previously reveals more of his stomach and all of his chiseled body. It feels almost dirty to stare, but I can't take my eyes away. It doesn't take me long to realize that he's showing off on purpose, and no one would lower themselves to this level. Is he showing off for me? He waits for me to show up before trying this, but there's no way why someone like him would be into someone like me. And thankfully, his eyes are closed the entire duration of his sinking show. If he could see the way I was staring, I think I'd die of embarrassment. By the time he's properly seated in his seat, most of the abdominals have been revealed. I've never seen someone who was this defined before. Even the people on my high school football team weren't this toned, not even close. Then his eyes open and he's staring directly at me. Excuse me. There's a mixture of sensuality and confidence in them, like he expects to catch people staring. But as soon as our eyes meet, his entire demeanor changes. His eyes brighten up, shimmering like the sea in broad daylight, and his smile widens to a larger degree. There is hunger and excitement in his eyes now. Yep, he's definitely flirting with me, even I'm not that dense. I should look away, but I can't stop staring into his eyes. They're like a riptide, dragging me along with his current. They're filled with a lot of things, but the most obvious thing about this is how his attention is solely on me. He's extremely handsome and a complete jock. I don't understand why he's so focused on me. I know I haven't met him before. Okay, and it doesn't seem like he knew me either. But I leave that good, no. Did I leave that good of an impression? I'm pretty sure I just acted like a complete coward at the auditorium. Oh, he really staring. Okay. His stomach moves, drawing my attention towards them. I can't tell if he's just breathing deeply or trying to get my attention towards his exposed area. I notice something else, and I immediately push my eyes back up to his face. A look of mischief covers his features. He's not wearing any underwear. I didn't see anything specific, but with how the top of those loose shorts sag forward, it gives me a clear view of nothing underneath. Oscar? A sharp voice behind me jolts me out of my mesmerized state, and I remember exactly where I am. The muscular otter only gives a chuckle as a response, and starts to adjust his shirt, while I swiftly turn my attention back to the rest of the table. The only significant reaction is the Shiba Inu trying to hide her giggling. It's not malicious, but it causes my ears to flush and change my focus to the other members of the group. Across from me is the fox I sat next to yesterday, is seemingly unaware of what had just happened in front of him. His attention is squarely focused on his phone, but his eyes flick to me for a moment before returning to his phone. I think he noticed, but just doesn't care. That helps with the blood. I can feel rushing to my face, but my heart's left a little sore by the lack of interest. He's still looking very downbeat, but not as uncomfortable as yesterday. It doesn't look like he's about to start clawing the table, at least. Not yet, anyway. Give it time. Give it time. The outfit he's wearing is similar to yesterday, too, minus the vest. A simple dress shirt and tie. His fur looks considerably cleaner now that his eyes aren't matted. His burn eyes stand out on his dark fur. I guess he was just having a bad day. The most unexpected member of our little group is the possum leaning back in his chair. He must have been the one who got Oscar to stop. He's still clad in the same leather jacket. He's leaning back in his chair, allowing me to see his ripped up jeans. I wonder if they're genuinely ripped or just a stylistic choice. Trying too hard. See what I mean? I'm honestly scared to ask. He's looking much more surprised than the others, though there's some concern mixed in his eyes. Jesus, kid. You look like shit. And you look like you crawled out of a dumpster from a trailer park, so I don't think you have room to judge. Like, okay, sir. Like, these two gonna start fighting? They're gonna slap on some dual discs and just go at it right here in the library? The possum's expression turns to one of confusion at the Vulpine's remark. His attention immediately diverted over to him. A little bit of sadness is poking through the hard exterior, but mostly just confusion at the sudden attack. But by the way his ears are lowered, I think that comment stung. Anyway. Oh, yeah, she does have a portrait. Here I was waiting with anticipation if there was going to be other portraits. An unfamiliar woman's voice catches my attention, and I turn to who I can only assume is Lily, standing in front of her chair, and her hands clasped in her front of her chest. I had completely forgotten she was there. The others are such eccentric characters, they drag all of my attention to them. She's a small canine, definitely shorter than me, which is pretty rare. Most people tend to dwarf me by at least a couple inches. Her features are soft and comforting, a stark contrast to our fellow Vulpine and Marsupial members. She's wearing a light yellow cardigan. It looks hand-knitted and very comfortable. It's a nice contrast to the rest of her dark fur. Underneath, she's wearing a pink dress that only goes halfway down her thigh. I can see the lighter fur color of her inner thigh, causing me to look back up to her face, my ears burning with embarrassment. She's got a smile on her face. Hers feels more maternal and subdued, unlike the otter's boisterous giant grin. Wallace, please take a seat. She's gesturing to the seat across from her. Seriously, please. There's been a bit of a bickering, and I want to start so we can all introduce ourselves. Hopefully things mellow out. For a split second, I think she's kidding, but despite her genuine smile, there's traces of fatigue scattered across her face. Not enough for me to worry, but enough to see it's a little tiring. I quickly take my seat, not wanting to hold her up, and before anyone else can say anything else, Lily continues. So, as you can probably guess, I'm Lily Rose. Yes, it's a weird name. No, I'm not from a family of florists. She gives a light chuckle at her own joke. It's a warm laugh that causes my lips to twist into a grin. It's so contagious. We've already introduced ourselves while we were waiting, so I'll just introduce you to them now. She gestures over to her right towards the out-of-place marsupial. This is Ash. A sudden glare in her direction forces her to cut herself off, though she brushes it off with a laugh pretty fast. Oh, I mean, this is... I don't know how this is supposed to be pronounced. Is this Lie? Liga? How is this pronounced? Oh no! Look! He's rather quiet from what I can tell. We ran into each other at yesterday's lecture.
Almost literally, I might add.
Lily is looking at us with an inquisitive expression, obviously curious. Leo? On the other hand, has his eyes closed, and he's shaking his head, but I can't see the corners of his mouth curl up. Just a little bit. Yeah, I kind of almost tripped over and he caught me. He even saved my laptop. I lift up my laptop bag for emphasis, trying to ignore the unimpressed look I know I'm getting. It would have been smashed everywhere if it wasn't for him.
Also, would have smashed if you looked where you were going.
Wouldn't have smashed, okay. I don't know, I can't see this kid smashing, if you know what I mean. It's hard to imagine, Wallace, you know. All eyes shift towards the Vulpine, and he shuffles uncomfortably in his seat. He sneers, but it's not directly at us. His attention firmly on the table.
Sorry.
Lai, who has been silent this whole conversation, finally speaks up.
Are you doing all right, kid? And not hurting anywhere? You still had a rather hard thump against me.
I'm fine. It's not like I smacked into the ground. You really saved me.
I'm still pretty hard. I had to check.
What? I'm still pretty hard? Okay. For a second, I think he's trying to show off or keep up some kind of badass facade, but his face looks serious. I can't tell if that makes me worried or curious.
Can I check?
The smooth, familiar voice of the otter from yesterday asks next to me, and I nearly let out a sigh. He's been flirting with me so far, but this is rather shameless. Okay. Expecting a teasing or lecherous expression on the otter, I'm left agape by the genuine curiosity across his face. He's already leaning across the table, with his excitement palpable. There doesn't seem to be any of that playful flirtiness in his body language until he notices me examining him. Then his eyes flick over to me and give me a wink. Doesn't seem like he's too interested in the other guys. I'm not sure if that makes me happy or embarrassed. Being flirted with is not something I'm used to. Is that even flirting, or is he just playing with me? What he was doing before was pretty obvious, especially that stunt at the table. That's not really there's no really explaining that one away. Okay, boys. We're getting a little off topic, even if watching you guys is fun. Now Lily's wearing an even larger smile than before. It doesn't rival the otter's, but she looks happier now that we're getting along better. Well, the guy next to you is...
We've met. Bumped into this guy after class. He almost ran into me, too.
You make it sound like an accident. You waited outside for me.
You were pretty out of it, but when I found you by the door, nothing wrong with checking up on you, is there?
Well, no. I guess there isn't. Thanks for looking out for me. I'm not going to bring up how I'm almost certain he's been flirting with me constantly since we met. I think he genuinely wants to be friends, and not just with me, but with everyone. He's just especially enamored with me for some reason.
Nah, don't think anything of it, man. No need to take it so seriously.
His outgoing personality is really not something I'm used to dealing with so often, especially with when it's directed towards me. There's something captivating about him. He's so bursting with charisma. It's hard not to smile along with him.
Though you should probably take me up on my offer to swim next time. Might help build up your stamina.
Is that a double entendre? I honestly can't tell with him. He's messing with my head.
Careful. You're going to overheat him.
My eyes snap over to Lai, and I'm suddenly very aware of how hot my ears are. The possum is easily able to see exactly what the otter was doing. I'm fine. I'm just a bit embarrassed. Glancing up at Oscar, he's looking rather proud of himself once again. I'm left in a confusing spot of his teasing is supposed to be genuine flirting or just playful ribbing. Why not both? Look, you look like a tomato. I can even see your blush through your fur. I'm not used to the attention, okay? People don't tend to really approach me often or are that affectionate in public.
If you call that affection.
I wish people would annoy me less.
Are you always this much of a downer? You sound like someone just killed your pet. Sorry, not all of us have the brain of a peanut and can be satisfied with flashing lights.
Hey, that's a little. But I'm cut off by this time by Oscar's laughing. He doesn't look upset with what was said at him, but said at all. In fact, he's still got that massive smile on his face.
He's not wrong. I do love a good light show. Reminds me, I haven't been able to go to a club in ages.
The fox looks somewhat surprised by this, not upset. In fact, he looks relieved. What's going on with him? Lily and Leag are looking at the two of them with a mixture of confusion and concern.
Sorry. Yesterday was a bit of a rough day, and I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I didn't mean anything by it when I insulted you. I mean, I'm just a bit of an ass and say things without thinking.
Yo, same.
What? I think that's pretty funny. I don't mind.
I wonder for a second if he's kidding, but then I remember just how insanely positive he is, and I don't even need to check his face to see he's being genuine.
I've heard worse.
I glance over to the possum with a furrow to my brow. The memory of his crestfallen ears after what the fox said to him earlier is still fresh in my mind. He seems to notice my confused glare and looks back with his own confused expression before quickly shifting to his calm stoicism.
That was more out of shock. It was pretty sudden. I've been called much worse.
His face is pretty neutral and hides his feelings well, but I can see the inner of his ears turning a darker shade of pink. I guess when you have such large ears, you can only hide so much. He's got such a scary appearance, but he doesn't seem threatening anymore. When you see some blush, it's hard to be as scared of them as I used to be. The others look pretty confused at that comment, but before they can get back into it, Lily barges back into the conversation. At this rate, we're gonna be here all day with introductions. Lastly, we have our last member. He's Lucas, right? The fox looks surprised at my guess. It's different to see him so shocked. The way his ears poke straighten up is kind of cute.
How did you know that?
Well, I kind of know everyone else's name now, so only Lucas is left for you. All of them were read out in class, and you're the only one left.
Oh, right.
He goes right back to pouting, and now looking away from the group. He's definitely an interesting character. We kind of sat next to each other in class. I mean,
I remember. Don't worry. You were pretty noisy.
A grimace covers my face, contorting all my features. I really pushed my nose somewhere it didn't belong yesterday. I should have just left him alone. He seems to notice this, and his ears press flat against his head, and not the reaction I'd been expecting.
Damn it. I'm sorry. You were just helping, and I bit your head off.
Reaching his hands up, he grabs the tips of his ears and tugs them downwards. Grip tight, and length taut. Okay. It looks pretty painful. It's quiet, but I can hear a pained whimper coming from the fox. Scratch that. It's definitely painful. No, it's fine. You were having a bad day, and I was being intrusive.
No, you weren't. You were fine. I was just being an asshole. You still are being an asshole. For reference.
It sounds harsh, but his tone feels closer to mom telling off his kid.
I know.
He begins pulling on his ears harder, and it's too painful to watch. I can imagine them ripping at the base, but it's such a unpleasant thought, I can't bear to watch it any longer. Without really thinking, I stand up and lunge over the table, grabbing his arms tight and pushing them up. I'm expecting some resistance, but he's not giving any. He's staring down at me with a bewildered expression on his face, and all I can do for a few moments is stare back. You look like you were in pain. You should, probably stop that. I don't let go of his hand, worried he might freak out or start pulling again, his expression still frozen in that shocked look. You were hurting your ears. I mean, you were tugging on them pretty tight. You shouldn't do that, okay? He gives me a slow nod, the rest of his face frozen in a mixture of shock and a total, astonishment. I can see the skin flushing to a darker shade of red, visible through his dark fur. Oh, okay. Well, another portrait. Interesting. With a nervous laugh, I release his wrist. He looks down at his hands, as if he's not sure what to do with them. It's odd to see him be docile. You okay?
Yeah, sorry. I just wasn't expecting that.
No, I'm the one that should be sorry.
You're fine. Thanks.
No problem.
Not just for that. Yesterday, too. You were trying to help, and honestly, it felt nice to have someone check in on me.
The smile he gives me causes my ears to burn alongside the fox's, and now I'm hyper aware of how I'm laying across the table in a busy library. There's a palpable silence amongst the group. I don't even look to see the other's reaction as I slide back into my chair. Alright, I'm going to end the part here, everyone, so I will see you around.